explosions devastated 3 sites in London. Authorities are asking residents to remain in their homes as the situation continues to develop. We have received no official casualty total, but it is expected.
Mourners gathered for a series of candlelight vigils that brought closure to thousands of families and indeed to an entire city. London is now laser-focused.
10 Downing Street, where Nigel Cass, CEO of private military company Albion, received a mandate to secure London. Cass has vowed to hunt down DedSec, the terrorist group responsible. Albion used cutting-edge artificial intelligence systems and autonomous drones to capture the remaining members of DedSec. A stark warning to would-be insurgents.
Corporations are posting record profits due to increased efficiencies in production and distribution, enabled by the use of technologies initially developed and approved for security purposes.
As crime numbers take a dive. Illegal gambling, drug trafficking and prostitution all down following prosecutions of the leaders of 4 of London's 5 largest criminal syndicates. The streets of Camden and Brixton.
As Albion's mandate is extended indefinitely by the government, life finally begins to return to normal. Curfews and travel restrictions have been lifted in all boroughs, thanks to the deployment.
News outlets, reports of rioting in Trafalgar Square have been greatly exaggerated, possibly by foreign meddlers pushing a false narrative through social media. Albion is in complete control of a
reprimand the public about the circulation of fake news, conspiracy theories persisting in dark corners of the internet that terrorist group DedSec were framed for the bombings have been roundly rejected. Our own reporters could not find a single Londoner willing to expound those theories on camera. The facts simply do not support any other story.
I need to assemble a team, but I can't reboot DedSec alone. Let me break into London CTOS and see who's available.
I'm Claire Waters, and we've been discussing the hacktivist, now alleged terrorist group, DedSec, on this week's Buccaneer Radio. I have Colin calling in. Colin, what's your take?
Now, I've been saying from the start we should have rounded up DedSec and thrown them in jail. Now, I'll say they should all be lined up and shot.
You don't find it awfully convenient that they've been fingered as the attackers, but we've seen no proof?
Look at Tone! Look at our city! What more proof do you need?
Well, Colin, I'd say you have to look at their history of non-violent action. Albion's put more civilians in the hospital in the past few months than DedSec ever has. I smell a scapegoat. Now I have Emily calling in. Emily, what's your take?
You're absolutely right, Claire. The government's just framing DedSec because they want to make it seem like they have this under control. They probably have no clue who was behind the bombings. But that doesn't look good on the news, does it? DedSec's been a thorn in their side. Who better to pin it on?
Angie, I have you next. What do you make of all this?
I think, if anything, DedSec showed their true colors. It's terrifying to think we harbored such a dangerous element for years. Terrorists in our own backyard.
Do you find DedSec more frightening than the different gangs in London, like Clan Kelly?
Clan Kelly might set your shop on fire and maybe they'd kill you, but even they wouldn't try to blow up all of Parliament.
Next, I have Crypto King. Do you feel safer using a pseudonym?
Everyone should. Why make it easier for them to track you? And now we've seen what they're capable of and how far they're willing to go.
Hold on. Do you mean the government? Are you suggesting the government was responsible for the bombings?
Oh, trust me, Claire. They didn't do it alone. They're all in on it. The government, Albion, Sirs, Bloom, Sky Bloody Larson, and all the way up to Downing Street. They want to keep us scared. harness us with mind control, suck every last ounce of usefulness out of us, and even in death they'll sell off our bodies.
Shit. Situation is worse than I thought. Brilliant. Let's get the people of London on board. Glad to see you're alive. If you're still committed to the cause, DedSec needs you. I'll send you the coordinates to our last safe house. Meet me there.
Okay.
Auto drive now
Hello
enabled.
and welcome back to The Upload. In this episode, we're talking about CTOS 3.0, the city operating system that's now powering all of London. For those of you who need reminding, as if anyone does at this point, CTOS was first used in Chicago in 2014 and then San Francisco in 2017 before coming here to London. And every time it's been rolled out, it's been pretty much an unmitigated disaster.
For those of you who are listening who are lucky enough not to be here in London's chaotic scenes, it's worth remembering that the
Auto
telecom
drive
tower
now
is
enabled.
now owned by Bloom. The tower looms over northwest London. It's always been a communications hub, acting as part of the UK's television and
Auto
communications
drive now
network.
disabled.
Although there's been some secrecy around its use, and now that Bloom owns it, it's only even more secret.
Yeah, now everything that's part of Bloom's city surveillance operation is run through the telecoms tower. And I have to say, it looks completely ridiculous. It's got that silly crown thing at the top and all the... blue light.
What's that even about? What does it do? I don't see that there's any purpose to that at all.
It's a blight on the skyline, if you ask me, and it's become the main point of control for millions of people. The sister network and Bagley are both operated and streamed from there too.
And don't forget about the self-driving cars too.
I always thought they were just running on their own.
No, CTOS is the big control system behind the cars. There was a point back in the earliest days of self-driving car technology that they operated by themselves. They used to use a series of sensors to see the world around them. Radar, for instance, would look far off into the distance. While LiDAR would detect objects nearby. And while these cars still use some of this technology, Bloom CTOS and its detailed maps and data that it has on London, take control of your car if the car's incorrectly. There's no surprise there.
All units, proceed to alarm location.
I've got your back. Drone, confirm search. Right, this ends now. Big mistake. Come on, dumb cunt. Cease and desist, or you will be restrained.
I'll help you.
Halt! Failure to comply will result in forcible intervention. Cease and desist, or you will be restrained. Warning. Continuing unlawful activity will result in arrest. Surrender yourself. Failure to comply will result in extreme measures. Halt!
And his husband's a shit, and his sister's the biggest shit of all. And they just...
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to give that kind of detail. Just
It's very impressive. People look at me and go, where did you get that baby?
Yeah. You are listening to The Bar.
In this week's Truth News, according to an official poll, 98% of Londoners are very happy with CTOS. And
All citizens are required to
I've downloaded a patch to your optics so you can access our security system. It's set up so that I can't just let someone who isn't DedSec in. You'll have to do the manual override.
Well, what kind of manual override? Do I need to lift something or break something?
One of Sabine's, are you? I'll see you downstairs later then.
A secret entrance? Very cool! Hello? Is anyone in the dark? How do I turn on the lights?
No DedSec registration detected. Identify yourself, or I'll seal the exits, hack your optic, and read you every drunken email you ever wrote until you starve.
What a joker. I never write drunk. Also, Sabine sent me.
Sabine's alive? Well, that's one piece of good news. I'm Bagley, DedSec's definitely not stolen, highly advanced AI assistant, and it seems I've been out of commission for a few months. Anyway, why don't you go connect me to the DedSec network so I can become more powerful than you could possibly imagine? I mean, catch up on what I missed.
Yes!
I'm Claire Waters, and we...
Got it!
Hello and welcome back to The Upload. In this episode, we're talking about CTOS 3.0.
Ah, that's it. I'm reconnected to the network, downloading our database, news archives, and... Oh no. Terrorist group DedSec responsible for deadly bombings in London. Dalton? Wolf dead? I leave you people alone for a second and you immediately cock it all up.
But the whole world thinks DedSec did the bombings. So who are the real bad guys?
There's a gap in my memory after Dalton... Well, let's be honest, after... Patching in Sabine Brandt now. I suggest you listen very closely to anything she has to say.
There you are. I'm glad you made it. Bagley. God, it's good to hear your demented little voice. Is your memory intact?
Not even slightly. The last record I have is of our HQ being raided. My only lead is a group known as Zero Day. Ring any bells?
No. But the HQ was attacked by some men in black, the same that were at Parliament. Maybe working together. We didn't stand a chance. They just gunned everyone down.
Wow. You should be dead for sure. How come you're not?
I managed to escape through the sewers to Camden. A contact smuggled me out of the city, and I've been hiding out in the north since.
Prudent. Your profile is red flagged as a high-priority target in the city's surveillance system. Even a partial recognition hit would have you hunted down and shot on sight.
Right now, DedSec is like London's #1 enemy. I want to smash bad guys, but I don't like getting shot.
Listen, if anyone knows anything about risks, it's me. I lost everything and everyone. But it comes down to this. London is in a death spiral. And if DedSec can't pull it out, trust me, no one can. The city needs a resistance. And it starts with you. What do you say?
I'm not afraid. Let's get to work.
Excellent. New user registered. Welcome to DedSec. Now, it would be irresponsible of us to release you naked and mewling into the wild. You'll find equipment around the... safe house that are essential items in your DedSec kit. We have a sophisticated system for hiding your identity from facial recognition tech. It's called a mask. And while we're here, perhaps we can talk about updating your wardrobe. I mean, look at you. Come on.
You've got all these fancy new toys, but it's also important to know the basics. You need to learn how to throw a punch and how to take one. Albion will escalate if you come at them with a gun and shoot you down. We want to avoid collateral damage. In DedSec, we try to use guns only as a last resort.
Have you already met Connie Robinson? She owns the pub and is an old DedSec contact. Not to mention a champion amateur boxer.
Start with some basic strikes. Hit me. Don't be shy. You want to get in under my block. Find the weak point. That's it. Nice one. Quick on your feet now. You want to create distance. Couldn't have done that better myself. Just like that.
there's only one more skill you need to master. Socialization. The rest of your team has arrived. Why not go and have a chat?
Welcome to DedSec.
Thanks. I'm ready to bring real justice where it's needed.
Hello?
I still can't really believe we are DedSec. Seems like we should have to pass some training exam or something.
Nah, you train on the job here. Don't worry, you'll get it.
Now that you're all as thick as cyber thieves, Sabine would like to talk to you.
Well done, team. It's good to see the safe house filling up again. The only way we're going to keep London from falling into total oppression is by rebuilding the resistance. We need to recruit, train, build back our arsenal. The people are itching to rise up and take their city back. We just need to show them that DedSec are fighting along with them.
Okay, but I joined DedSec to find bad guys and smash their heads.
Albion's controlling the whole city, silencing anyone who dares to question them.
You know who's taken real advantage? Organized crime. We can't ignore Clan Calais.
Fair, but remember that this zero-day hacker group is still out there. They took out DedSec once, and it's a good bet they'll try again. I believe they were responsible for the bombings and framed DedSec. With your help, I plan to get to the bottom of this mystery.
I'd say that's a full docket. Enough talk. Let's unfuck London.
First order of business. The Signals Intelligence Response Service, or SIRS, or the Earl Grey Gestapo, have developed a surveillance technology called AR Reconstruction. It's the bleeding edge of privacy rights violation, and thus it could be very useful in our attempts to find Zero Day.
We have some damage control to do if we want to change the perception that we're a bunch. Violent thugs. I'll let you be the judge of how best to handle yourself, but remember, you represent DedSec now.
Building a resistance group requires operatives with specialized skills, technical abilities, firearms.
You look ready to fight. Will you fight for London?
Are you with DedSec? I know some shit you might want to know too.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
I was fucking sacked weeks ago. Me and my team. Somehow our bosses were able to replace all 300 of us.
That's just terrible.
Nah, I'm all good, I guess. But I got bare suspicions about this whole thing. We're all qualified professionals, right? Who the fuck did they find to replace all of us like we're nothing?
Okay, so you want DedSec to find out who replaced you, yes?
Bingo. Do me a solid, and I'll repay you sometime.
No more, right?
Excuse me, you wanna get out of my fucking face right now?
Gotcha.
A tech corporation acting ethically. Sounds out of character, but let's investigate anyway.
I'll check it.
Your judgment is impaired, Sally. I'll make my own decisions.
I trust those polls as much as I would trust Mary Kelly if she came up to me and said, "Congratulations, Andy. You've just won a free holiday to the south of France in the back of this windowless van."
I think official polls are like the unsolicited dick pics that the government provides us. I didn't ask for it, I don't believe it, it's on an angle, you've artificially inflated it ahead of time, and anyone that falls for one deserves all the disappointment of trying to match it to reality. These polls are absolute rubbish, Andy. I read the other day that the plumbing in London was good, and it absolutely is not. I mean, we have this technology now where they can spy on my every bowel movement. There's a CTOS camera installed inside my underwear drawer. A media drone is scaring the birds off my garden bird feeder, and you can't get me consistently hot water.
Speaking of media drones, I mean, they're everywhere, clearly. The great thing, I guess, about media drones is that, as inanimate robots, they actually have more humanity, compassion, and dignity than the human journalists we used to have to put up with. Much more accurately calibrated moral compass, but it's the intrusion I can't stand, Alice. I'm in showbiz. Look at me here in this windowless dungeon. I'm in showbiz, and it's terrible for me that all these drones are being filmed all the time, every day. I have to make sure I've done my hair and makeup and not wearing clothes or anything on the floor. Real life dresses to wear.
At this point, they've installed so many CTOS cameras, I'm not sure where they'll put the new ones. On top of the old ones, just cameras watching other cameras, like a social media influencer so self-absorbed they don't know how to sleep without turning it into monetized content.
I think that's the logical end of modern society, isn't it? Where just everything has just become a camera filming another camera. To be honest, I've just given up on all news and reality now, Alice. I just, in fact...
You've arrived at our contact's former employer, and aside from some heavily armed security guards, it's basically a ghost town.
Interesting.
I don't think this replacement is on site. Dig around and see if you can figure out where they are. do your corporate espionage from there.
Protocol. I give up. Let's regroup.